You watching right now, I know why you clicked. That mountain of debt feels impossible to climb, right? The minimum payments barely make a dent, and it seems like you'll be paying forever. I get it because I was you just 18 months ago. Debt is like those zombies from The Walking Dead, relentlessly chasing you, never stopping, always hungry for more of your income. There's a way to eliminate the entire zombie horde at once. I'm talking about complete debt freedom, using a strategy so powerful, I eliminated $35,000 in just 11 months. No bankruptcy, no rich relatives, just smart math that banks hate. Here's a fact that'll hit you like a blue shell in Mario Kart. The average American spends over 20 years paying off their debt when they follow the bank's recommended payment plan. 20 years! That's like paying for a debt until your newborn is old enough to order their first legal drink. I know this because I lived it. Minimum payments create the illusion of progress while actually keeping you trapped. Banks design these payment structures with surgical precision, just enough to keep you paying forever, but not enough to actually free yourself. Let me show you the math with a real example. Take a typical $10,000 credit card debt with an interest rate of 22%. If you only make the minimum payment, usually around 2% of the balance, you'll pay over $19,000 in total, and it'll take about 28 years to clear. That's almost double what you originally borrowed, spanning longer than many popular TV shows have been running. Banks hide the ugly truth like it's their secret recipe. Only the headlining numbers catch your eye, while the fine print buries the real cost. Look closely at your next credit card statement. See how they tuck away the time to pay off information in tiny print? Or how they highlight the minimum payment in bold, but bury the fact that you'll be paying until retirement age? My personal wake-up call came when I reviewed my payment history. I had faithfully made $5,000 in payments over a year, feeling pretty good about myself. Then I checked my balance and nearly fell out of my chair. It had only gone down by $800. The other $4,200 had vanished into the interest abyss. It was like feeding a monster that never got full. That night, I calculated my total debt of $35,000. Following the bank's helpful payment schedule, I'd be debt-free in 19 years. I'd be middle-aged before I was free. The realization hit me hard. What banks tell you is, just make the minimum payment and you'll be fine. What the math shows is completely different. With a $5,000 balance on a card with 18% interest and minimum payments, in the first month about $75 goes to interest and only $25 toward your actual debt. You're not making a dent, you're feeding an interest monster. Everything looks normal on the surface, but underneath, a dark reality drains your financial life force. Financial institutions don't want you to realize their recommended payment plans mathematically extract maximum interest from you. It's not an oversight, it's their business model. They're counting on you not understanding the trap. If banks actually wanted to help you get out of debt quickly, why would they set the minimum payment so low? They're not designed for you to win, they're designed for the house to profit. According to research, reducing debt would make life less stressful for most people. But banks aren't in the stress reduction business. They're in the profit business. The system works by lending you money, establishing a payment structure that keeps you paying mostly interest for years, then collecting the profits. It keeps you alive just enough to keep feeding it. But what if you could flip this system on its head? What if you could use their own math against them and break free in a fraction of the time? That's exactly what I discovered, and it changed everything for me. Understanding this trap is just the first step to freedom. Once you see how the system actually works, you can't unsee it, and you start to realize there might be a way out. Before we get to my solution, though, we need to talk about why most expert advice about paying off debt misses the mark entirely. Ever notice how debt consolidation companies promise you freedom like Willy and Free Willy? But what they actually deliver is more like that pet rock craze from the 70s. Just a regular rock with googly eyes slapped on it. Let's break down the most common debt elimination strategies. Dave Ramsey's debt snowball method focuses on paying smallest debts first to build momentum. The avalanche method targets highest interest debts first to save money. Debt consolidation combines all your debts into one loan with a supposedly lower interest rate. These approaches sound effective on paper, but each has major flaws that often go undiscussed. Debt consolidation gets the heaviest marketing. Companies advertise their low interest rates, Consolidate your 22% credit cards into one easy 9% loan. The problem? By stretching your payment over a longer period, you typically pay more total interest despite the lower rate. Here's a real example. $15,000 in credit card debt at 20% interest paid off aggressively in 3 years costs about $22,500 total. Consolidate to a 10% loan stretched to 6 years for a comfortable payment, and you'll pay approximately $23,100. $600 more with half the interest rate. It's like ordering a Diet Coke with your supersized fast food meal thinking you're making a healthy choice. These companies also hide significant fees in the fine print. Origination fees can reach 1 to 8% of your loan amount, up to $800 on a $10,000 loan, just to process your application. Add potential prepayment penalties, annual fees, and late payment fees, and you're facing unexpected financial hurdles. I almost made this mistake myself. After extensive research, I found what seemed perfect: a 7.9% consolidation loan compared to my 19% credit cards. Before submitting the application, I calculated the total cost one final time. The revelation? With a 5-year term and origination fee, I would pay $4,200 more than if I aggressively paid down my original debts over 2 years. Even popular methods like the snowball approach have limitations. While knocking out small debts feels satisfying, you're still operating within the bank's payment structure. You're playing their game, just changing the payment order. Traditional extra payments don't dramatically change your timeline because of how amortization works. When you make an extra $100 payment on a $10,000 loan, a substantial portion still goes to interest. It's like trying to empty a bathtub with a spoon while someone keeps running the faucet. You're working harder but not seeing proportional results. The fundamental issue with snowball, avalanche, and consolidation methods is that they miss a critical mathematical principle that could cut years off your debt. Banks understand something most consumers don't. Most people who consolidate end up with similar debt levels within 2 years. Debt consolidation often keeps you in debt longer while creating an illusion of progress through lower monthly payments. You might feel relief seeing smaller monthly obligations, but you're actually extending your debt sentence. These traditional approaches fail because they don't address the fundamental mathematics of debt. They treat symptoms without curing the disease. So what's the alternative? What if there's a mathematical approach that completely transforms how interest is calculated and applied to your balance? A formula that flips the script on debt repayment? That's exactly what I discovered, and it changed everything for me. What if I told you there's a mathematical formula so powerful it's like using a cheat code in the game of debt? I'm talking about a strategy that lets you flip the script on banks and win at their own game. This isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. It's pure math, and math doesn't lie. Let me introduce you to debt recasting. Financial advisors rarely discuss it because it doesn't make them or banks any money. Think of it as finding that secret warp zone in Super Mario Bros. That lets you skip several levels at once. Traditional loan payments follow an amortization schedule. Here's what it means. Banks structure your payments so you pay mostly interest at the beginning. Imagine a toll road where you pay the highest fees in the first few miles, then gradually less as you continue driving. Banks front-load the interest because they want to get paid even if you refinance or pay off the loan early. Here's how debt recasting works. Every dollar you pay beyond the minimum payment goes straight to reducing your principal. The actual amount you borrowed. When you reduce the principal, you automatically reduce all future interest calculations. This is like cutting off the head of a hydra instead of fighting individual tentacles. The strategy centers on calculating your principal acceleration point. Here are the exact steps. 1. Look at your current minimum payment. 2. Add 20 to 50% more to that amount. 3. Target this extra amount specifically at your highest interest debt. 4. Maintain this payment consistently each month. This creates a compounding effect where each extra payment makes future payments more effective. Let me illustrate with an example. Say you have a $10,000 credit card debt with 20% interest. Your minimum payment might be around $200 monthly. Using the principal acceleration formula, you would pay $300 monthly instead, $200 plus 50%. This change cuts your payoff time from 94 months to just 44 months, saving over $5,800 in interest. I remember when I first applied this to my student loans. I was making regular payments and barely seeing the balance move. But after implementing this formula, watching that principal amount drop each month felt like finally breaking through a wall I'd been hammering at for years. Visually, imagine two lines on a graph. The red line is your debt using the bank's minimum payment plan, sloping down gradually over many years. The green line is your debt using the principal acceleration formula, dropping steeply and hitting zero much sooner. The gap between these lines represents all the money you save and years of financial freedom you gain. This formula works for any type of debt: credit cards, student loans, car loans, even mortgages. Unlike debt consolidation or balance transfers, you don't need good credit, pay any fees, or reset the clock on your debt. The method is completely legal and doesn't hurt your credit score. As your balances drop faster, your credit utilization ratio improves, potentially boosting your score. This isn't about finding extra money you don't have. It's about redirecting money you're already spending more effectively. Think of it like learning proper throwing technique. Same arm, same football, but suddenly you throw much farther. With this simple math approach, you know exactly how much to pay to legally avoid thousands in interest without damaging your credit. It's the difference between decades of debt or freedom in just a few years. Now let me show you exactly how I implemented this to eliminate $35,000 in just 11 months, and how you can apply these principles to your situation. Remember when Neo finally saw the Matrix for what it really was? That's exactly how I felt when I applied this formula to my own debt nightmare. I couldn't unsee the truth about how banks had structured my payments to keep me paying forever. Let me take you back to my starting point. I was drowning in $35,000 of debt spread across 4 credit cards and a personal loan. My minimum payments were eating up 40% of my monthly income. I was living paycheck to paycheck, constantly checking my bank account like it was my ex's Instagram page. The anxiety was real. I'd wake up at 3 a.m. doing mental math about how I'd make it to the next payday. When I first calculated my principal acceleration point, I was skeptical. The formula showed I needed to pay about $800 more per month to really make this work. Where was I supposed to find an extra $800? It seemed impossible as finding a matching pair of socks in the dryer. But I committed to trying it for just 3 months. I tracked every payment and its effect on my balances. Month 1 was hardest. I scraped together an extra $400 by cutting streaming services, bringing lunch to work, and selling unused gaming equipment. I applied it all to my highest interest credit card, charging me 24.99%. Month 2, I found another $200 by negotiating bills. In month 3, I hit my full $800 target by picking up weekend food delivery gigs. It wasn't glamorous, but seeing the numbers move made it worth it. The real shock came after 3 months. My highest interest card's balance had dropped by almost $2,600, far more than basic math suggested. Each principal payment reduced the interest-generating balance for the next month. The effect accelerated like a snowball rolling downhill. I documented my progress with monthly screenshots. 4 months in, I'd paid off 1 entire card. The feeling surpassed finding money in an old jacket pocket. I framed that zero balance statement from my fridge. Physical proof the system worked. I found extra money through creativity, not deprivation. I negotiated better rates on monthly bills, sold unused items on Facebook Marketplace, and rented my parking space to a neighbor. These small streams combined into a debt-washing river. The psychological benefit was unexpected. Watching my debt shrink became addictive. Every dollar thrown at debt was another point on my personal scoreboard. I questioned every purchase. Do I want this more than freedom from debt? Usually the answer was no. 6 months in, I'd eliminated 3 of my 5 debts. My minimum payments dropped significantly, allowing me to direct even more toward remaining debts. The debt avalanche effect in action. By month 9, only my personal loan remained with about $7,000 balance. According to the bank, I had 58 payments left, but momentum was on my side. I sold my car for a cheaper one, applying the $4,000 difference to my loan. The final $3,000 took just 2 more months. 11 months after starting, I made my final payment, 19 years ahead of schedule. I saved over $23,000 in interest that would have gone to banks. The day I made that final payment felt like graduating from financial prison. The debt stress evaporated. My story demonstrates this is a practical system that works with real numbers. I eliminated $35,000 in just 11 months using these exact steps. If I can do it, you can too. But I know what you're thinking. My situation is different. Maybe you have lower income, higher debt, or special circumstances. Let's address those concerns and customize this strategy for your specific situation. But my situation is different. I hear that constantly. And guess what? This strategy is like Lego blocks, totally customizable to your unique situation. No matter what financial Jenga tower you're dealing with, we can make this work. Let's tackle the big scary monsters in the room. Maybe you have irregular income that bounces around like a beach ball at a concert. Or your debt load is massive, it feels like you're trying to eat an elephant. Or perhaps your budget is stretched thinner than the last sheet of toilet paper on the roll. These are real challenges. If you work on commission, freelance, or have seasonal work, your income probably looks more like a roller coaster than a steady paycheck. The solution? Create a money bucket system. During high-income months, fill up your debt payment bucket first before spending on anything else. Store up your extra cash during good times to maintain payments during lean times. For those with massive debt, $100,000 plus, break it into smaller chunks. Aim to eliminate $10,000 first, then the next $10,000. It's like eating an elephant one bite at a time. Different types of debt require different approaches. With federal student loans, look into income-driven repayment plans as a starting point, while applying our acceleration formula for extra payments. For mortgages, even an extra $100 monthly can cut years off your loan and save tens of thousands in interest. Medical debt often has more flexibility. Many hospitals offer interest-free payment plans or debt forgiveness programs based on income. Always call and negotiate. With credit cards, target the highest interest card first with your extra payments, like pulling the biggest weed in your financial garden. What if you have literally no extra money? That's where my 1% rule comes in. Start by finding just 1% of your income for debt. If you make $3,000 monthly, that's just $30. It's about building the habit, like starting a workout routine. You don't begin by bench pressing 300 pounds. Where can you find that 1%? Check subscriptions you barely use. Call your insurance for discounts. Switch to a cheaper cell phone plan. Sell unused items. One follower saved $47 monthly switching from name brand to store brand groceries. $564 annually toward debt freedom. When prioritizing multiple debts, calculate what I call the freedom factor. Take each debt's interest rate, divide by its remaining payment months. The highest number gives you the biggest impact for your extra payment dollar. It's like choosing the best tool for a specific job. This method worked for Maria, a single mom with $42,000 in debt and income that varied by $1,000 each month due to nursing shift differentials. She focused on her freedom factors and found an extra $200 monthly by meal prepping instead of ordering takeout. In 18 months, she eliminated over half her debt while maintaining her emergency fund. Then there's Kevin, who lost his job during the pandemic while carrying $28,000 in credit card debt. He started with just 1% of his unemployment benefits toward extra payments. When employed again, he increased to 5%, then 10%. 2 years later, his debt was gone through consistency. The beauty of this strategy is its flexibility. It adapts to your unique situation because it's based on percentages, not fixed dollar amounts. Each payment is a brick in your financial foundation. When placed correctly, your future becomes unshakable. This isn't about deprivation. It's about strategic choices that align with what you really want. Would you rather have DoorDash now or debt freedom forever? Small sacrifices today create freedom tomorrow. Now let's put it all together with your action plan starting today. The path to debt freedom isn't about perfect circumstances. It's about taking imperfect action consistently. Picture waking up tomorrow without that debt weight crushing your chest like a cartoon anvil. That freedom is closer than you think. Using this formula, Banks' hope stays buried deeper than forgotten characters in The Simpsons. According to a Lending Tree survey, 84% of Americans believe reducing debt would make their lives less stressful. Your action plan starts now. Calculate your numbers, set up your accelerated payment schedule, and watch those months and years melt off your debt timeline. Visualize waking up debt-free, unburdened by financial chains that once held you back. Break free from the bank's game and join me where financial freedom becomes your new reality. Thank you for watching this video all the way to the end. If these insights resonated with you, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who could benefit from this message. Your support helps us continue creating content that empowers and inspires. I would absolutely love to hear about your thoughts. Please drop a comment below. I read every comment, and it helps me create better content for you.